Hi, my name is Jordan Vieira, and you're listening to Talking Junk with Jordan, where we talk about pop culture, sports, and all kinds of entertainment. But also, we talk about relationships, disabilities, motivation, and the human spirit. Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Talking Junk with Jordan. And my name is Jordan Vieira, and our special guest, my special guest on episode 5, is my good buddy, Jonathan Gage. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Jordan.
It's a pleasure having you. A little bit about how Jonathan and I, we met, was at college back when I was getting my associates in 2017, and almost a 10-year, just past 9 years. So it'll be 10 years next year.
10 years next year as of January.
As of January. And it'll land right on, we can say Happy New Year and Happy Anniversary of 10 years. And one of our biggest things is we love professional wrestling. WWE. I am into both WWE and AEW. Which, if anyone out there doesn't know, WWE is World Wrestling Entertainment and AEW is All Elite Wrestling.
The two largest wrestling companies right now in the world.
Yep, and I would totally say that they're, obviously since they're the same product, they're different companies, different owners, different wrestlers, different fan base.
Mr. Vieira.
Yes.
I have a question, Mr. Vieira.
Yes.
This is Jim, your producer.
Yes, Jim.
When I was a child, it was called WWF.
Yes.
What happened?
They took F out of there.
They got the F out of there.
They got the F out of there, and they put an E.
Do you remember why, Jordan?
No, I don't. I got to go back and...
It was because of a dispute with the World Wildlife Foundation.
Oh.
So they are also referred to as WWF. So WWE ended up changing their name from World Wrestling Federation to World Wrestling Entertainment to avoid that lawsuit.
Isn't that something?
You know when that happened, buddy?
Nope.
Right about 2002.
Wow. So 2002. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, going on 24 years now.
Yep. I mean, and good for them. I mean, they didn't want to get themselves in trouble.
Well, I think the panda bears were wrestling and they didn't like it.
Right? There's a bunch of panda bears out in the wild.
You know, they didn't like the outfits.
They were too likable. They didn't have any heels.
Right. They didn't have any. Right. They didn't have any bad guys, and a heel is a bad guy. So their job on television is to come out and make the audience boo them so loud they boo them out of the building.
So what got you two guys passionate about wrestling?
So my dad's a huge wrestling fan, and he used to watch WCW in the 90s. And WCW was on TBS, TNT, and then they had their monthly pay-per-views. You buy them. But he used to watch Monday Nitro every Monday night on TNT. And then when I was growing up, I started watching the WWE, and and then TNA's around, which stands for Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. And, I started watching it, and I'm like, this is awesome. And the fans and the energy of the crowd, and so I got into it because of my dad. My dad likes it. But, Jonathan, how did you get into it?
I actually got into it in 2012. It was the night after WrestleMania. My cousin bought WWE 12, which was one of the greatest wrestling games ever made, in my opinion. And it was the night after WrestleMania when The Rock and John Cena had their first bout. And that was when I saw that Monday Night Raw and the return of Brock Lesnar, who I knew because I was a UFC fan. And I was like, wow, I really like this. I'm going to watch next week because it left me on that cliffhanger where Lesnar attacks Cena. And this is when I'm still very new to wrestling. I'm learning all their names. I mean, I knew John Cena. I knew Randy Orton. These were names that I just recognized.
Yep.
The Rock was a big name who I recognized as well.
Yep.
But for me, having played that game and getting into wrestling that way, it got me watching the product. And then they hooked me.
Yeah.
And I was always that person that, like, oh, I'm never buying a UFC pay-per-view. I'm never spending that much money.
Yeah.
I bought every wrestling pay-per-view from that day on because they hooked me. They
Yeah.
had me hooked in the storyline.
Yep. Well, and I think for me to be entertained by, it's not only the men, you got women fighting too. And they come out and they're all dressed up in whatever they're dressed up in.
They don't call them divas anymore, right?
No, they used
Oh,
to.
that changed.
Why'd they take that away? It's just like a
I
politically correct kind of thing?
Yeah, a change in culture.
Right.
As time went on, women were seen more as wrestlers than divas.
Yeah.
And I'd say, Jordan, correct me if I'm wrong, some of the best storylines we've seen within the last 2 years have been within the women's division.
Yeah, some of the best stuff going.
Who are the big stars right now?
There's Charlotte Flair's pretty big.
Rhea Ripley.
Becky Lynch, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan's a big star.
I love Liv Morgan. I love her work.
Yep. Stephanie Vaquer from Japan.
Let's not sleep on Roxanne Perez either. She's with the Judgment Day, but if you watched her work in NXT, she's learning very fast.
Yep. And Raquel Rodriguez, trained by the awesome, the king, Booker T. Can't beat Booker T. Color commentator on NXT along with Vic Joseph.
So who was your favorite growing up? Who was the first one that you clung to? Like, I'm seeing The Undertaker here. I always thought he was cool.
Sting was my
Sting?
Yeah. I clicked right onto Sting. I'm like, Dad, are we going to watch Sting now? And I didn't know it was called TNA Impact. TNA Impact is the name of the show. Let's put it out. Let's watch Sting now for an hour. And here I am, as a 9 or 8 year old kid, like, wait, Sting's going to be actually on for an hour? And then I watched the show even more.
You mean the guy from The Police?
I wish. I wish.
He was like, every little breath you take, I'll be body slamming you?
Every little breath you take, and then I'll be picking you up on my shoulder and throwing you through the announce table.
But let's not forget, Jordan, Sting was that wrestler who never went to WWE until, what was the year he debuted? It was the Survivor Series before WrestleMania 31.
Where do you want to go here, Jonathan? Let's see.
2014.
Yes, 2014, that's right.
Sting
because
was
14 was WrestleMania 30, and then Survivor Series is in November. So
and
yeah.
Dude, he's old.
Yeah, he is.
Mm-hmm.
He just retired from wrestling back in 2024, and they finally put him, the first wrestler that I know retired on a win. They had him go out on a win when he won his final match.
That's also a good topic for debate, though, Jordan, is do you go out on a win on your final match, or do you put over the next generation?
Well, I think it's not going to hurt the next generation if that individual wins their last match because they're done. John Cena, when he went out in December and retired from the ring, they had him lose. They wrote the storyline for him to lose his final match. That's not going to... John's done. You know what I'm saying? Cena's done.
Yeah, that's true. He did lose to Gunther. He lost via submission. Very controversial in the wrestling community.
Yeah.
I've got an interesting quote here about Sting. It said he's widely regarded as the greatest performer in WCW history. Former rival Hulk Hogan asserted that Sting should be mentioned in any conversation regarding the top 10 greatest wrestlers. And this part is interesting. It says... Sting's ability to constantly evolve his gimmick while fellow franchise players Hogan and Cena largely failed to do so in order to maintain spectator interest. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, you think Hogan failed to maintain spectator interest?
No.
More so than Sting?
I disagree respectfully with that. Hogan was Babe Ruth. When you
Right.
think of wrestling, you think of Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Yep. And I also think, as you go up in the generation, you watch, if you watch a wrestler like Goldberg, who just destroyed everyone, came in, was a huge star, and now you got 2026, and now we're in 2026, and you see guys like Obafemi, who is just on the top of his game right now, came in a week ago and body slammed Brock Lesnar, and I'm just like, this is unbelievable. This is unbelievable.
I could do an impression of a wrestler. You want to hear it?
Yeah, go ahead.
See if you can guess. Ready?
Yeah.
Woo!
There you go, Nature Boy.
We don't even need any other clues.
It's the Nature Boy.